everyone knows that the only constant in life is change, right? Like changes. And things have changed a lot, and things are changing so often. Someone was doing the numbers, like how much time it took from 100,000 users of radio to 100,000 users of TV and 1,100 users of internet. And it was like a very steep curve. So I don't know, it took from, I don't remember exactly the numbers, but it said from the first 100,000 person to have radio, it took I don't know how many years from the inception of radio. Then from the 100,000 people that had TV, it was, I don't know, the span, let's say 50 years. And then for 100,000 people to have internet, it was like 2 years. It was like, super fast. Not that we need to think about changing all the time, but it's funny. Recently, my mom left yesterday. She was visiting, and I can see how things change. My mom, she looks older, a little bit slower. She still have like her brain and everything, and you can still spark. So she's young on that part of her life. But when I talk about changes, like I remember when I was a kid, and basically, you are told from your parents what to do and how to behave, and then they take care of you and a lot of things. But now it's different. She came here and I saw that she depends on me or her kids to do something else. Not that she cannot do it. Of course she can do it. I guess because that's how life is. So I don't know. In this case, I would say my message for this one is like things change a lot. So one day you might have your parents with you, and then if you don't take advantage of spending time with them, then they will not be with you anymore, and you won't be able to, have a good time, have some conversations, because at the end, even if you think that your parents are old-fashioned or they don't know about technology or a lot of differences that you might think, they're still your parents, and first you owe them respect, but also they still know some things that you don't. And that's the reason why they're like, I don't know, 40 years older than you, or 30 or 20, depends. In my case, my mom is about 30 years older than me. So I guess that she has 30 more years of living and stuff, and things will change very fast in many ways. So I was just thinking about that in changes. And I was thinking in changes of how in the hell we graduate from university. When I graduated, they were like, Google was not the thing that is now. There was no ChatGPT, no Gen AI. You couldn't ask any of these Gen AI apps to help you to write something or to help you to look for something. You have to actually go to an encyclopedia, like a lot of books, and find the information. Some years later, we had the encyclopedia on a disc. So we had few discs. It was called Encarta back then, and we can do it. Then later on, internet was better. We got Wikipedia. So you have to be careful which pages are good or not. I think it's very well done. It was one of my favorite pages. And yeah, things have changed so much. Also, this past weekend, I had a karate seminar. And I remember my days, like about 20 years ago, yeah, on my early 20s, when I was in my prime of karate and sparring and seminars and stuff. And it's not just me, how I change, because now like I can know, like I get tired easy, but also not just me, but how things are, how people see karate. The people who are training now are different from the people that used to train before. So things are always changing, always changing. And so yeah, it makes me have a lot of thoughts about changes. For example, like just recently, yesterday, I was watching one episode of House of Dragon, and that reminds me of Game of Thrones. So back in then, when Game of Thrones was released, there was no Netflix, and I remember that they were showing in Costa Rica. They were like doing all this announcement of Game of Thrones, and because I saw some dragons and whatnot on the previews, on the trailers, I wanted to watch it. I didn't know what it was about. I guess maybe not interested, or I don't know, maybe too young to understand, whatever. I wasn't paying too much attention. So when it was released, I don't know if it was a Saturday or a Sunday in Costa Rica. So I watched it in HBO live. We had HBO at home. We have cable TV back then. Another change. No one has cable TV anymore, or few people have cable TV. Now we just do streaming, and you can watch everything on the spot. You can even watch all the episodes if they are released immediately, like sometimes Netflix does. Sometimes they just release 3 episodes and 3 the next week and like that. But I remember when those days of Game of Thrones, I did watch the first episode, and then I think the next week you have to wait to watch the other episode. And if you miss it, that's it. You miss it. You have no chance to watch it. I don't know. Or maybe if you go on Fridays to rent a movie, to rent some VHS, VCRs, or DVDs, yeah, that's another change. Back in the days, on Fridays or Saturdays, you go to, let's say in US, to Blockbuster, or in Costa Rica, you go to the video rental place and you rent a movie. You watch it at home, and it was way cheaper than go to the movies. So anyway, I watched Game of Thrones. I think I won episode 1 of season 1, of course. Then I think I saw episode 2 and even episode 3, if I don't remember. If I'm correct, I think even episode 3. But then because of life, I don't know, that weekend I was not at home, or who knows what, so I missed the next episode. And then I think I missed it a couple of times, and I think I watched maybe the last one of the season, and then basically I just lost track of it. Years later, past many years later, it took me a long time. I don't know how many years, but about 10 years, because I start rewatching everything when they release. Like I remember when they released the latest season, I said, okay, I'm going to watch it. So I start watching season 1. So by the time that I watch season 1 and 2, then the last season was already finished, completed. So, I mean, of course, I heard people saying they ended and whatnot, that I didn't care. But basically, I have to watch the whole seasons when they release the last one. That's another change. And part of the things that I mentioned about the change in Game of Thrones is because of the dragons. And if you guys watch my latest episode, I was saying that this week, or actually previous week, but I couldn't do the video last week because my mom was here visiting and I wanted to spend time with her. Even I thought that maybe I could do a special episode with my mom, but I'm sure she would be a little bit odd about it. Anyway, so I couldn't do it last week. I didn't make the time to do it. But then I said that the next episode we were going to talk about unicorns and dragons. And to your surprise, here we have a dragon. Look how cute a dragon. I have to ask Nadia, what was the name of the dragon? I remember. And then we have a unicorn. You might realize this unicorn is so fluffy, I'm gonna die. It's a very different looking unicorn. I'm sure when you think about unicorns and dragons, you might not thinking about these specific ones. But let's start talking about unicorns, right? Okay, unicorns and dragons. Let's put Mr. Dragon here, and let's talk about unicorns, or both of them. Unicorns and dragons are these mythical creatures, means that they actually doesn't exist in reality. Who knows? But as you can see, unicorn is supposed to be a horse-looking beast with a horn on his head. This is cute because this is sitting, but he's supposed to be in his 4 legs and walk. And he has a unicorn. This has a golden unicorn and it has a pink hair. But unicorns are in different sizes, shapes, and also personalities. So are unicorns my favorite animal? Not really, but I do like horses. Some of the things that they say unicorn have like a lot of special powers, and some of the special powers, like magical powers, they can do things. I don't know how, if they're animals, but other than they can do things and have some magical powers, they were saying that the horn have some sort of magical powers as well. Like if if you grind the horn, and of course you have to kill the unicorn and chop the horn, and then you can make like some sort of potion or something that you can have like long life or what, who knows what. That is pretty stupid to ask, if you ask me, unless it's an evil unicorn. And I remember talking about evil unicorns. I remember I was watching a TV series a while back, and there was this unicorn. I don't know, actually, I don't remember it was a TV series or a movie. And there were this very scary looking unicorn, black unicorn with red eyes. And if you see it, you're going to die because he was going to kill. He was like some sort of possessed unicorn. So if you see the unicorn, you'll be in big mess. Yeah, that's for the unicorn. And actually, there is a movie also that just maybe 1 year ago or even less, and it's a funny movie about a family or a guy who's driving a car with someone, and then he kills a unicorn, and then all the movie is around that, what happened when they kill a unicorn, and they found themselves in a very funny adventure. I haven't watched it, but I do remember because I do like these beasts like unicorns and dragons. Now we move back to the dragon. This dragon, very cute, is sleeping. It's a sleeping dragon, you see? He's sleeping. And this dragon, the shape of the dragon is interesting. Because if you know about dragons, there's two types of dragons, more or less, I would say. There is the Western-looking dragon, that it looks more like a very big bird, kind of dinosaur, pterodactyl, kind of looking, like a flying thing. And then there is the Asian dragon. And the Asian dragon, let's say China, Southeast Asia, who knows well where else, is more like a very long creature, more looking like a snake with wings. So if you see this one, you see it's kind of long, but it's kind of puffy. Maybe it's a baby, ate too much, and it has small wings. But of course, this one is different because this one, first of all, is sleeping and it's a baby. But usually when they grow up, their wings are way bigger than their own body because, that's how aerodynamics works. Like if you see eagles, when they open their wings, their wings are huge compared to the size of their body. This one is different. This is sleeping, it's a baby. So what kind of dragons do I like? So actually, this is a conversation that maybe you should have with your friends. Like last time we said, we made fun of that. Why adults always talk about weather and politics and other things, whatnot, like boring stuff. Maybe if you talk about movies, or maybe you talk about your job is boring, but if you talk about movies, it's fun, or sports can be fun. You should have a good conversation with your friends about unicorns and dragons. And you should come and ask your friends. Let's say that you have a dragon. What would be the color and what type of dragon? Describe your dragon. What is the name of your dragon? So I go first. So the type of dragon that I like, I think I like more the Asian type of dragon, like more like a snake kind of looking dragon. And I like a big dragon because there are sizes of dragons, like can be small dragons, baby dragons, there are fat dragons, long dragons. But I think the dragon that I would like, and they made it easier for me, is the dragon from Lord of the Rings. And the name of that dragon is Smaug. Well, if you have read the Lord of the Rings books, that actually is there sitting in this bookshelf that I have, there is many dragons, or there was many dragons. To be honest, I don't know the names of many dragons. I don't know if they are mentioned, but the dragons, they were not a good creature. They were not from the good guys. So it was a more like an evil creature. But let's forget about that part. So I like Smaug because if you watch the movie The Hobbit, have you seen Smaug, how big he is? He's huge, he's humongous, and he looks like a snake with some huge ass wings. And he's kind of orange, golden. And the voice that he had, that is the guy, this actor, forget his name, the guy from Doctor Strange. So he does the voice I think so. And the voice amazing. Nevertheless, if my dragon, I don't know if dragons should speak, but let's say that if my dragon doesn't speak, it would be fine. Like a cat. We have a cat here, Millie. If you see behind me, that painted done by Nadia represents Millie. So it's a very cute cat. It's a mini cat. It's kind of the size of this one, almost. She's almost adult size. She's less than 1 year old. And she's very funny, and she doesn't speak. I mean, she's very vocal. She makes a lot of noises. So if my dragon that like Smaug, looking like him, yeah, but maybe not the evil version. I would like a nice version. Maybe he can be scary, but maybe doesn't eat me or fight me or don't kill my friends. And his name, the name of my dragon will be Isidro. I think that's in Spanish. The name of my dragon will be Isidro, kind of Isildur. Oh, good name, Isidro. Isidro, my dragon, will be huge as dragon, more like an Asian looking way, like a snake with long wings. He will be golden dragon. He might like gold, yeah, sure. And he doesn't have to speak, but hopefully he's smart, Oh, good idea. Yeah. Like Pokemon, because Pokemon, they don't speak. They just say their names. I mean, there is this one Pokemon that he speaks. What is it? Meow? Meow? That guy speaks. But the rest of the Pokemon, they don't speak. Even Pikachu. The only thing that he says is Pikachu. So yeah, this would be kind of like Isidro's baby. Yeah, so next time you go in your friends, ask them, what if you could have a dragon, what color would be and what would be his name? What would be your dragon's name? And then you have to put more effort. You have to imagine like what size of the dragon will be. You have to imagine where do you meet your dragon? Exactly like the movies, How to Train Your Dragon. Be more creative, because you might think, Fernando, what the fuck? You're not 12 anymore. You don't think about these things. But that's exactly the problem that we're having now, because people forget about having imagination and they're just stuck to their phones, like maybe you are now watching my YouTube videos, watching Game of Thrones, doing a lot of things, but you're not imagining thing anymore. You're not thinking about what if, or like, when I was thinking about changes just now, what do you think people used to do before you have electricity at home or things like that? Maybe in some part of the world, they just get around the fire because it was winter, maybe. They didn't have TV, they don't have a lot of things, they don't play video games. So they eat, they sit around the fire, and they just tell stories. But basically, it's about people are losing the way of thinking and having I don't know, ideas, or having imagination. I guess that's the way that I can say it, because now we don't use our brains anymore. We just kept our brains being fed by Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. That, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy all of those things, but you also have to put some effort and learn some stuff and try to imagine and try to make things different. But sometimes when you go out with your friends, you sit, you get a beer, and then you spend like 10 minutes, five guys with their phones scrolling instead of like talking to each other. Sometimes they're texting other friends. That it makes it weird, because the same purpose, all purpose of meeting a friend is to talk with your friends, not to talk to your other friends. They are not there. So yeah, well, that's the thing. Dragons. And talking about Lord of the Rings, look what I got. I had a ring of power, because 2 weekends ago, Sharon and I had our ROM. ROM stands for Registry of Marriage. She mentioned to me that, Fernando, you never wear rings. What, do you want a ring? I said, like, well, I don't know, not really. And then one day I think we were watching something, and there was something related to Lord of the Rings. And she said like something like, hey, what if you get the Ring of Power? And I'm like, yeah, but that's actually the one ring to rule them all. If I put it, disappear. Anyway, we talk. At the end, she got also this ring for me, and she got one for herself. Is Galadriel's ring, Lady Galadriel's ring. And how did she come with the design of the ring? Because that's also very interesting. There is not a lot of description about Galadriel's ring. The description is very vague. He just says some things here and there, and I think it's part of what Tolkien was trying to do on purpose, because when Galadriel, she was given the ring of power, there were three rings of power. One, Galadriel has it, then the other one, Elrond, and then the other one, it was given to Gandalf. But before, they were owned by someone else and they give it to them anyway. So when Galadriel has her ring, when she wears her ring of power, the ring becomes invisible. So that's why it cannot be described, because no one saw it, or it's very hard to see it. But then on the Lord of the Rings movies, when Galadriel show her ring, it has a very specific shape. It's nice and shiny, very shiny. Then if you watch the TV series Rings of Power, when you can see Celebrimbor doing the rings, I think it shows the rings, and then the ring that at the end it was going to be Galadriel's, it has a different shape as well. So it's not exactly the same anywhere, but at the end Cheryl came with a design. Maybe I would try to show, if I knew how to edit these things faster, I would just add it here on the corner where people say like, check on this, and then they put the photo here with the ring stuff. So it's a very nice story that we have between us. Now, which one is your favorite? That's your homework. And me, I have to go work. So see you guys next time. Bye.